Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, and I'm out on another walk. Today I have come to Whiteways, which is just above Arundel in West Sussex, and I thought I'd go for a stroll on this rather and beautiful autumn day down along the woodland that is at the back. Now you may remember I'm following in the footsteps of Walter Wilkinson. Well, this isn't technically one of those walks, but in our story that we were reading on the live shows that we did, Walter Wilkinson came up to Whiteways just at the dusk, and he camped somewhere here, he says, the night with, I think the utility was with him, this chap who was helping him. And they were trying to evade a bobby that was on point duty at the top where the road is. But I'm not really following in his footsteps on this one. This is just a lovely autumn walk. So let's go and enjoy ourselves, shall we? I absolutely love the autumn colours. It's one of my favourite times of year. Everything just looks so golden. I thought I'd just come up here to have a little look at some of these rather beautiful trees. I think that's a beech tree there. It is incredibly bright today, given that we're in November, and I'm out on my lockdown walk. We've supposedly all supposed to be in lockdown, but we are able to get out, and we can actually drive on this occasion a little further afield, which is fantastic, so that we can appreciate more of the countryside and be alone, where we're not likely to bump into anybody with the dreaded disease. Now you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think part of this journey that cuts through towards Bignor is on the South Downs Way, and I'm fairly sure that's where it is. If not, you can correct me in the comments. There's some amazing trees on this little stretch. The last time I was here was in the spring with Julia, I think a couple of years ago, so this is the autumn, totally different. Oh yes, this is Houghton Forest. That's what I forgot what it was called, but it's nice that they put a big board up there so that you can just identify where you are. I thought actually I would come off the path. You can actually come off the path, and I think it's fairly open access, so you can just sort of wander around, and I thought I'd do a little bit of that today. There are these little paths and tracks rather than just aim for anywhere. It just gives me a chance to have a look at the wonderful colours and be at one with nature, really. And I think in these days where you've got the virus supposedly everywhere, not that I'm a great believer in any of this really now, I think pretty much it's infected so many people up and down the land that it's on its way out. But so important to have that stress-free time out from all the news media. Sometimes when we're out filming, the lovely Julia and I will wax lyrical about these amazing beech trees and absolutely love them. Beech trees for me sometimes just appear to be the king or the queen of a forest. You're out in a walk in a beautiful woodland, and then there, you know, you may have oak and you may have hazel and all those sort of things, and then suddenly you stumble across one of these just superb beech trees, and they just look, I don't know, they just look wonderful. Well, during my filming here, I've had just so many problems with the gimbal that holds this camera. I bought this gimbal, it was about £300, and I've never quite got the hang of it, but now it just seems to either not work properly or be broken, and it's just caused me so much hassle. And when you're out filming, the last thing you want is your gear to let you down, and I feel it has. So I just want to chuck it in a skip, but I'll probably put it on eBay or something and see if somebody else can make something of it. So the rest of this, I'm afraid, is going to be in shaky vision, because I don't actually have a backup plan for this other than a little handle to hold this camera. So I'll try and keep this as still as possible as I go and explore this rather wonderful wood. I love the leaves, don't you? The colours, the carpet, the feel of the leaves as you walk on them. I just love it. It's one of those things that you can't replicate really in your garden unless you've got enough trees. And you can come out here and you know that as these leaves start to degrade, they are actually putting the life back into the soil, and that's just so important, so that this circle of life continues again. And then from the soil another sapling comes up and it shoots into the sky and produces its leaves, and then at the appropriate time they fall, and so it goes on. I just think this is such a wonderful natural thing, and we walk over them and often we just don't think about it, but it's just incredible, really. Here is another example of an amazing beech tree. They just, I don't know what it is, they just command my attention, most definitely. This one, a bit like an octopus actually, with these terrific arms just coming out from the central stem, or the trunk. Now, I would like to ordinarily walk round slowly, maybe give you some of those slow motion shots, you know, that you can do. But holding on to the camera now in shaky vision, it's not quite so impressive. But I will do my best to take you around and wax lyrical about this rather splendid tree. It's just beautiful. This wood is obviously visited by groups of kids, scouts and what have you, and you know, you can see that people have been doing some woodworking. I'm not quite sure what these things really mean when they lean up these things. Are they hides for people or are they hides for animals? I'd love to know, because you often see these sort of things and you think, well, what animal is actually going to shelter in there? It's more like a bit of a prison. You can imagine a deer getting trapped in there. I can't imagine they're traps. Years ago, many years ago, back in the medieval period, the commoner, the cottager, the serf was able to go into the woods and just collect wood for their fire. And since the enclosures, you can't do that, which is such a shame, because I have a little wood burning stove. I have one in my kitchen and I have one in the front room, and to me it's just such a natural way of heating up my house. I know there are people who say, oh, you know, it's a pollutant and what have you, but we've been doing it for thousands of years, since the Neolithic times. It just seems the most natural and simplistic way of doing things, and it sort of centres me and makes me one with the earth, using fire, proper natural fire, to heat my little abode. And so it's a shame that we can't do that, because it would be just great to come out, especially now I've got a van, to gather, you know, the fallen stuff. But it's also good for ecology that it isn't collected, because all that fallen wood, if we were all collecting it, it would be disadvantaging the natural world, all the little tiny mites and insects and invertebrates and all of that. Now, I wanted to stop here because I spotted this amazing tree here that seems like it's been stripped of all its bark, and you wonder what's happened to it. What's the story behind this? I'm trying to see if it's actually still alive. It looks as dead as a dodo, but all around in the canopy there are leaves, but I can't think that it's supporting its own life. However, all these little fissures here and all the little branches and the bark and underneath will be a host to all sorts of life. So even though the tree is dead, there's plenty of stuff living in it. Well, I'm going to take my defunct piece of apparatus back home now. It's just been a bit frustrating, as you can probably have gleaned from this, but just getting out into the woods has been just incredibly remarkable, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I wish I'd picked up the lovely Julia and little Joe, because I think Joe would have absolutely enjoyed this immensely, so I may well have to come back. In the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed this little foray into the autumn woods. We still have a few days of sunshine, I think, before we get into the really increasingly cold weather, so hopefully be out and about into some more woods. And there's still a lot of colour to be seen. It's not yet over, which is fantastic news. If you've enjoyed this and have managed to put up with all the wobbly nature of everything, don't forget to give us a like. A thumbs up is very useful. Follow, like, subscribe, all the usual. And if you're in any way inclined, become a patron, support the channel. I can upgrade my equipment, keep the diesel in the van, and get out each day and bring you elements of this beautiful country that I love so very much. Till next time, bye bye.